Hi, welcome to week 11 for Research SAEs. Now in this week, it's important that we go over the content available. That way we can help you, hopefully, move through the projects, or the assignments, I should say, for this week better. Really the idea with Research SAEs is that it's a underutilized area for SAE projects. So this week's very important. It's a way for you to not only learn about how Research SAEs are tracked in the record book, but hopefully to create some ideas you can carry into your profession of teaching ag. All right, we're going to take a look again at the content for the week and the homework. So let's take a look. All right, when you come into week 11, my video will be here. The first thing you'll see is the content for the week. There is the content of how to set up a research plan. Part of the assignment is for you to do a research plan. So if you open this link here, you'll see some aspects of a research SAE that you should consider. So hopefully that'll help you there. Now the records that I'm going to give you for the week are important to learn how to manage records for an SAE. So once again, open this link and it will give you the step-by-step. Now these tools are just to help you get going. The next one is a video that connects all that together. So it goes into the record book and shows you an example of how you would do the records in the record book for a research SAE. So resources 1, 2, and 3 aren't meant to show you how to do it on your own. It's just meant to show you how it works. Actually, the assignment that I'll go over in a little bit, the homework here, number 9, that is the actual research project you will do. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are just resources to help you. All right, tips for a research SAE, same kind of thing, also meant to help you. And then finally, step 5, I'm going to pull up. This is a web page that USDA hosts, and it gives some ideas for what we call Ag Science Fair Project, which these are research SAEs. So another homework for you in this week, which again I'll go over, is for you to create a plan for a student to do a research SAE. So on this page are some ideas, and they have links to other pages to spell out exactly what the ideas would be. So hopefully you can use this for zoology or botany or medicine and health, different ideas that are listed here, environmental science. Other ideas are listed here at the bottom of the page. So these are links to ideas to help students create a research SAE project, which this connects back to your homework for the week. All right, so this is the content. Special one here I wanted to go over, which I did. So these are the resources you have to use. Now down here you'll notice in this week that you don't have one homework, you actually have two. These two homeworks are two different ideas, and so I want to go over both. The first one is to log into AET and do the Johnny Research example I have for you. It just simply means you need to log in, develop in your record book this SAE, create a plan, do the records that are asked of you, and then upload that to eCampus. So to pull this up, I'm going to go over it in more detail. So here's the scenario you're going to get. It's going to tell you you're doing a wildlife research project. It's going to tell you step 1 to log in and create the project, name this. All the steps are listed here. First part is do an SAE plan. So in your own words, complete each one of these sections. Don't give me just one sentence. A couple of those are doing that and we're losing points a little bit. Really need to develop a complete thought. And actually, a research project like quail habitat is going to involve more than just one step. So in your own words, outline the project. Without putting words in your mouth, things are going to be such as to go out to a ranch and select maybe certain areas of the ranch, maybe rope those off, and you're going to measure the quail habitat in those areas. You're going to then use this to estimate the quail habitat across the entire ranch. So those are just ideas of how you may get this done. The amount of time it's going to take, well, you're going to go back and follow the scientific method. You can probably look that up. The scientific method outlines the process that research goes through. So to me, that would be a great idea to plug into the time and the research. The money, the estimates here in the project are going to tell you the money. So it looks like we need about $1,200 and the costs are going to be, so here's a heads up, look down here and you'll see the actual cost that we have. So you can use that in your actually plan. And then the idea about learning outcomes, again, we've been doing this more and more. You need to go to the Plan, Learning Outcomes tab, and there are SAE competencies. If you click those, it will pull up natural resources, and you ought to be able to scroll through and pull at least probably 4 items out of that aspect of that plan or natural resources, copy it and paste it right back in your plan, and then elaborate a little on each one. Those would be ideas to do a really good research plan in your record book, and hopefully that process makes sense. The key is do your own work here. I'm trying to give you ideas, but you can replicate a similar process on your own and do a good job. Next is the finances. So when you do a research project, it does involve money sometimes. In this case, it will. So you will go into finances, you will go to cash income and expenses, and then you'll do cash income, and you will identify that we had $1,200 in research funding. Once you get that in, you will then hit cash expenses, and you'll identify that on 9/1 we took that money and went and bought a bunch of supplies. You can really do that on one entry, just use 3 rows and identify 150, 50, and 100. Now the rest of the money, we chose non-current items. You choose add new, and we talk about a laptop that we bought. All right, so that's going to be the finances part. Step 3 is the journal. So, of course, the most important part of a research SAE is time. So when you choose journal, select your SAE, and then pull up that screen. It'll allow you to choose your SAE, and you've got to pick an activity. So what you're going to do is you're going to select an activity that best aligns to the description I've given. Now, I didn't finish the thought. I just gave you some introductory stuff. So on 9/1 of 15, you're going to choose your research SAE, and then you're going to look through this list. Well, one of the things listed is agribusiness, and then the next is a budget idea. I think that's a great way on 9/1 to describe that you actually had to review the items that you need and purchase all of them to get the research project set up. In other words, the money part of the research project is going on, what you're working on here. So that's what you should do on 9/1. On 9/11, it says that you visited several ranches this weekend. You might want to take a look at natural resources or plant science, and you might want to write up something to the effect of reviewing different resources that were needed to identify where to do my plots for my study. So I'm kind of leading you into some of these, but you can go through these and find it on your own. So choose the what we call activity, that is the ag and natural AF in our agricultural, food, natural resources layout that's there, and you choose the most appropriate one, whether it be agribusiness, plant science, or natural resources. And that way you can go and see how these connect to what the kids are actually doing. So this is 5 entries that ought to be simple for you to connect to an area. All right. Once you get done with that, you've done appropriate journals. Journals are an important part of all records, but very important in a research SAE. All right, next step is to upload photos. I went ahead and went to example student. So when you go into your AET, you'll choose portfolio. Portfolio where all your pictures are. Now, I had some questions on this. You'll notice right now we're looking at what's called the general portfolio. So in this example student, if we wanted to look at these pictures, and they're supposed to be in our greenhouse project. So if I choose the greenhouse project, you'll notice they're not there, just the one is. So if I go back to the general folder, that is the problem. These pictures are in the general folder, and they were meant to be part of the horticulture or greenhouse project. There's captions and everything there, so that was excellent. If I choose edit to these pictures, again, there's where you do your caption. Here is where you identify what SAE it goes to. So, for example, this is supposed to be career exploration and greenhouse. If I'll just change that and hit save, now the pictures are not part of the general folder, but part of the actual SAE where they need to be. That way when I print out the report, these pictures and captions will go right along, and that way you can not lose points. So when you're going through this step, make sure that you upload the pictures into AET, and they're appropriate to be like a research, wildlife research photos. Upload them into the portfolio in AET. Choose the SAE that it's supposed to go to, develop a caption, and hit save. That way when you finish and submit your report, the pictures will show up and you'll get full credit. All right, the next area, the final area, is step 5. You need to do what's called annual review. Now back into your SAEs in the Experience Manager, it's this clipboard. So that's called annual summary or annual review. You need to make sure that you complete that for the year that's needed. In this case, it's only 2015 because that's the only year we have of activities. And in that annual review, you need to focus on skills that relate to this project. So what skills do you think the student might learn from this? And once you hit save, then you're actually complete. You need to make the project inactive because it's done. And then you need to upload the single SAE report for this research SAE and upload that to eCampus. That is the first homework. The second homework is actually a 2-page research idea. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to this USDA website that I shared earlier. It has lots of ideas already there, or you might find other ideas you found. What you're going to do is you're going to develop a 2-pager that covers these points below. First is going to be a narrative that describes the project, give an outline of it. It also outlines any resources that the student may need to learn more. Next is you're going to have a section that talks about the hypothesis or the goals of the research. So you are laying out a research idea. You need to lay out the goals. You also need to lay out the activities and the amount of time it may take. So similar to my homework, you need to outline one here as well. The more details you provide, the better your grade will be. Next is, are there any expenses that relate to the project? Even if it takes the school's resources to do it, is it going to cost anything and are resources needed? The answer is always yes, it will. So you have to estimate what you think that might cost, and then you may also identify, or you should identify, who will pay for this. Maybe it's the school, maybe it's a local business, maybe it's both. Create the ideas that match your example. And then finally, the last part is every research project has measurable outcomes. So what is the student going to measure? An example may be, let's say that you have a project that is measuring plant growth, which is going to be height of the plant growth with different light exposures for tomato plants. So you identify, probably up in the project, you would have a white light that's the control, and then there's a green, a red, and a yellow light. And so those plants are put into probably a box divided with cardboard, and different lights are put on those plants for specific times of the day. So what you're doing is you're trying to measure if light has any impact on growth. Maybe you need 3 different trials, or maybe you think you can do it in one. Again, that's what relates to the study, but you need to have measurable outcomes. So in this case, the measurable outcomes would be the growth height of the plants. Now that's not going to be just one time that you measure. So maybe you measure in the beginning, and maybe you measure 10 times during the growth, and then you measure at the very end. And so this would be an example of the proposed outcomes and what will be measured and when, and that's the detail I'm looking at for the last part. So what you're going to do here is by developing this 2-pager is you're going to end up laying out potentially research ideas that students can use. Once again, you can go to this site and learn a little bit more about some ideas, and then I want you to write those up and submit them for the second homework for this week. All right, like every week, make sure you let me know if you have questions. Resources are laid out for you in homework 9A, record keeping for research SAEs, and 9B, a 2-page research idea. That's the homework for the week, put together to make the 10 points for each week's homework. And so hopefully this helps you for this week. Again, make sure to follow the instructions. Again, let me know how I can help. Thanks.